addition to 28 editions of the Nichi Bei Weekly throughout the year, a free San Francisco Japantown map and directory, a free wall calendar and discounts to events, members of the Nichi Bei will receive a very special new edition of the Japanese American Community Resource Guide. Your guide to Japanese America, the Japanese American Community Resource Guide features a guide to hundreds of nonprofit organizations, Japantown maps and directories, historic destinations relevant to the Japanese American experience, a map of wartime incarceration sites, Japanese public gardens, cultural arts classes, cultural festivals, cultural and community centers, Japanese language schools and summer cultural programs, community and senior centers, Japanese grocery markets, churches and religious organizations. The Japanese American Community Resource Guide was funded by a generous grant from the Henry and Tomoe Takahashi Charitable Foundation and is part of our mission to keep the community connected, informed, and empowered. In addition to 28 editions of the Nichi Bei Weekly throughout the year, a free San Francisco Japantown map and directory, a free wall calendar and discounts to events, members of the Nichi Bei will receive a very special new edition of the Japanese American Community Resource Guide. Your guide to Japanese America, the Japanese American Community Resource Guide features a guide to hundreds of nonprofit organizations, Japantown maps and directories, historic destinations relevant to the Japanese American experience, a map of wartime incarceration sites, Japanese public gardens, cultural arts classes, cultural festivals, cultural and community centers, Japanese language schools and summer cultural programs, community and senior centers, Japanese grocery markets, churches and religious organizations. The Japanese American Community Resource Guide was funded by a generous grant from the Henry and Tomoe Takahashi Charitable Foundation and is part of our mission to keep the community connected, informed, and empowered.
Chen and vera Ukraini ni slava ni volia. Chen and bracia monori usmi frezza dolia. Zimut nasi vori dzięki, jak rosa na słońcu. Zapanuje himem bracia, uspoi stolący. Zyszuj tiro mi porodzin, za nasiu swobodu. I pokaże, show mi bracia, kozacką rodą.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the second episode of the Nichi Bei Cafe, a mixed plate of Japanese American news and culture. My name is Ryan Yamamoto, and I will be your co-host for today's program.
And my name is Kelly Yokoi, and I will be your other co-host today. You've just watched a moving rendition of the Ukraine national anthem performed by the Yokohama sisters in Japan, led by former Nichi Bei Times intern Maho Watanabe.
Maho and the Yokohama sisters wanted to do what they could to support the people of Ukraine in this time of crisis, including those in Yokohama's sister city of Odessa. Their song has reached hundreds of thousands, including those in Ukraine who were warmed by their support, and the Ukrainian national anthem has become a global symbol of solidarity.
Our hearts reach out to all of those suffering in Ukraine, as well as other parts of the world, and we applaud the work of Maho and the Yokohama sisters in their desire to spread peace.
Today, we are excited to present to you the second episode of the Nichi Bei Cafe, featuring stories that will appear in our upcoming Home and Garden issue on March 17th. We have an exciting lineup for you today.
The Nichi Bei Cafe is a place where we can gather together while apart as we continue to self-isolate during this unprecedented global pandemic. Since we haven't been able to gather the past 2 years like we used to, we hope that we can gather here in this virtual cafe.
The Nichi Bei Cafe is like some warm and friendly hangouts from yesteryear, like your favorite diner or lunch counter. It's a place where you can meet old friends and new with a strong sense of community.
Without further ado, let's get the cafe rolling.
Today, California Ensemble.
The mission of the Grateful Crane Ensemble is to pay tribute to the unique hardships and inspiring contributions of the Japanese Americans in our country's history and continues the traditions of our Japanese ancestry through educational and entertaining works of music and theater to the Nikkei and broader communities. And now let's welcome San Francisco native Soji Kashiwagi. Soji, welcome to the Nichi Bei Cafe.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Congratulations on hitting the 20-year anniversary of the Grateful Crane Ensemble. As you look back on the first 20 years, what prompted you to begin the organization, and what does Grateful Crane mean?
The Grateful Crane is a Japanese children's story called Tsuru no Ongaishi. And the idea is to show gratitude and to give back for those who have come before you. And so 20 years ago, we started this group, as you mentioned, called Grateful Crane. And it was a simple idea. At first, we would just sing some songs for seniors at the Cato Retirement Home in Los Angeles. And at first, we were telling Japanese children's stories, but then it eventually grew to Japanese American stories. And then we started taking the show on the road, all across Los Angeles, up and down the state, across the country, and as far away as Tohoku, Japan.
What stands out as some of the most memorable moments of the past 20 years?
I would say the most memorable moments have been seeing the people's reaction to what we've been doing. I mean, we've been telling Japanese American stories. We did so with a show called The Camp Dance, The Music and the Memories, which was about the high school dances the Nisei used to have behind barbed wire in camp. We also did a story called Nihonmachi, The Place to Be, which was about Japantown. And it actually began with the 100th anniversary of San Francisco's Japantown. And so it's kind of been covering our Japanese American history, and in the process seeing the people's reactions, laughing, crying, remembering. I think that's been the most memorable thing. And there's also been a certain amount of healing that's taken place. You know, a lot of our history is very painful. But music has a way of bringing out a lot of emotions. I mean, it's been pretty amazing. In Nihonmachi, we give out little packets of Kleenex to audience members as a souvenir, thinking that they might need it because in prior shows we had people, wiping, going like this. And we just thought, okay, let's provide some Kleenex. And sure enough, those who had the Kleenex used it. And those that didn't rushed out during intermission and said, "Where's that Kleenex? I need the Kleenex." So that kind of reaction has been very emotional and really rewarding for us to see.
Your more recent production, Garage Door Opener, is about siblings who clean out their parents' garage and in the process dig through some memories. It seems to resonate with Japanese American audiences across the state. How did this production come about?
So our initial shows, especially Camp Dance, were really for the Nisei generation. And so over the years, we decided that we needed to do something for the Sansei. So I wrote this story about a brother and sister that have to go through their parents' house after they pass away and all the stuff they saved. And this really resonated with people. They could relate to it because they've actually had to do it themselves. And so they were there to go through the tofu containers and the kamaboko boards and everything else their parents saved, because if you threw it away, that would be mottainai, and that's not a good thing in our community.
After the Great East Japan earthquake and tsunami on March 11, 2011, the Grateful Crane Ensemble went to Tohoku to try to lift the spirits of those impacted by the disasters. In what ways did that trip impact both the Grateful Crane Ensemble as well as the audience?
You know, we've been on 3 trips now to Tohoku in 2014, 2016, and 2018, and it's been life-changing each and every single trip. Mainly it's because of the inspiration of the people, their perseverance, their strength in getting through so much, and they just have this enormous spirit, a spirit that's kept us coming back. And they really, really appreciate the fact that we've come all the way from America just to be with them, and then that we haven't forgot them. And of course, they really appreciate that we're singing some of their most favorite Japanese songs that has brought them a lot of joy and strength over the years. So all in all, it's just been a very incredible, life-changing experience for all of us.
In recent years, you've developed a youth group called the Grateful Four. What led to its development and why?
Well, when we decided to do something for the Sansei, we also had in mind that we should do something for the Yonsei as well. So around 2010, we started bringing in some younger folks to sing with us. At first, they would join us on stage at our fundraising dinners, and they kind of evolved from there. And we started a Yonsei a cappella group based on a group that our board chair, Michael Murata, started at UC Berkeley. And so it kind of took off from there, and they formed this a cappella group, and that group eventually joined us in Tohoku, Japan, and they just had an incredible experience there as well. So it's been just great having them on board with us.
On Saturday, April 23rd and Sunday, April 24th, the Grateful Crane Ensemble will have a free performance at the Benvenuti Performing Arts Center in Sacramento titled Misora Hibari, a tribute to a legend. For members of our audience who may be unfamiliar with her, who was Misora Hibari and why was she so popular?
Misora Hibari was just this incredible artist, singer, actor, and overall a superstar performer in Japan. She started when she was a child, and her career lasted about 40 years. She's credited with lifting the spirits and giving people hope and strength, especially during the war and after the war in Japan. But what we point out in our show is that she had the same effect on Japanese Americans after the war. When they didn't have anything, Misora Hibari gave them joy and laughter, hope, and strength. That's one of the things that we point out, along with singing all of her greatest hits in our show, which bring back all the memories of our grandparents and parents listening to her songs on the record player, watching Japanese programs on TV, or going to the Kokusai Theater and seeing her movies. It just brings back so many memories and so much joy for people. In our Nihonmachi show, at the top of Act 2, we do a little reenactment of a concert in tribute to Misora Hibari. It was a way of just introducing how the community recovered after the war. I took that idea and said, well, why don't we actually do this show for real? A tribute to Misora Hibari and how she really provided a lot of strength to folks in our community. So that's how the show came about, and that's what we're going to be doing in Sacramento next month.
And finally, how can people secure tickets to this event?
It's a free show, so just get your tickets through Eventbrite. Go to the link on Eventbrite, and you can reserve your tickets there.
Well, thanks so much for dropping by the Nichi Bei Cafe and sharing a cup of tea with us. Good luck on your upcoming performances.
Thank you very much. Great to be here. Cheers.
Next, we will have a short feature on Katsura Garden in San Francisco's Japantown, where you can buy bonsai, flowers, and more. Please enjoy this video report by Derek Tahara of the Nichi Bei Weekly staff.
Katsura Garden, located in Kinokuniya Center in San Francisco's Japantown, is a 46-year-old business serving the community with unique plants with Japanese accents. The shop was started by Nobuyuki Yoshimura in 1976. When Yoshimura retired, Ritsuko Suzuki took over the shop in 2018. Suzuki has worked at the shop for nearly 30 years. She has a vast knowledge of Japanese bonsai as her grandfather was a bonsai collector. One of the most popular plants is the bonsai. The plants are reasonably priced. During the pandemic, the shop's sales stayed the same from pre-pandemic and did not decrease. The shop was closed from March 2020 to May 2020 due to the pandemic. However, Suzuki went into the shop every day to water the plants. Suzuki mentioned customers purchase the plants both as gifts and for themselves. Suzuki provided general tips in caring.
Bonsai, yes. Outside and keep soil moist. Keep soil moist, which is very, very important. And then need a good indirect sunlight.
This is Derek Tahara for Nichi Bei Cafe.
And now for the main course. First, we have a feature on Hayward's Japanese Garden, a hidden gem in the East Bay. Sit back and relax as we take you for a stroll through this little-known oasis in this report by Akiko Minaga and Greg Valoria.
The beautiful Hayward Japanese Gardens is tucked away in an area off of downtown Hayward. Work started on this 1.2-acre hidden treasure in 1979 by master gardener from Japan, Kimio Kimura, who used the principles of traditional Japanese garden art. The gardens, which was completed and dedicated in 1980, would not have been completed without the support of the local Japanese American community. Nichi Bei Weekly writer Akiko Minaga sat down with Wes Sakamoto and Robert Sakai to talk about the history and elements of the garden.
Well, it's now really truly a Japanese garden. And what Kimio tried to do here was to incorporate local California plants with Japanese plants. Well, one thing about Japanese gardens and Kimyo, you don't see too many flowers. I mean, Japanese gardens are mostly all evergreen trees and shrubs. I guess, they're not trying to be flamboyant with a lot of camellias and rhododendrons and flowering plants. Well, one of the things was this was a 1 acre site. He wanted to make it appear a lot larger by creating illusions of space, And we had a lot of the existing trees going along the creek, and in like Japanese gardens in Japan, they call that borrowed scenery. Like I said, we have 800 tons of stone in this garden.
Robert Sakai, a young lawyer at the time, talks about the beginnings of the gardens.
But the idea came from a former Hayward city councilman, and he was one of my bosses in my law office, Jay Birchfield. He took me out here one day in, I think, 1975, and I think he had gone to high school here at the Hayward High School. And at that point in 1975, this was an old botanical gardens, but it was a mess. And he was on the Hayward City Council, and he thought this should be a nice garden, and so we talked about doing a Japanese garden. When this started in the mid-1970s, there was a significant community of nurseries that were owned by Japanese Americans. There were a number of nurseries back then, and I think that was the impetus for the garden.
Both Robert and Wes share what they love about the gardens.
I like that it's like an island in the middle of Hayward. If you come here, like I used to work in a building across the way, and I would come here and have lunch in that pavilion, and I liked it because I could look out on the garden and see greenery, and then in the background I could hear the creek, and that's a nice setting.
Well, my favorite part is the koi pond and how we arrived at how it should be shaped and whatever, and we had a lot of the koi fish donated to us.
Anybody that doesn't know about Hayward's Japanese garden should come and walk around, bring a lunch, because it's a very peaceful location.
So you really feel like you're on an island with a Japanese-style garden.
The Gardens is located off of A Street in Hayward. The Hayward Japanese Gardens is open daily, except for Christmas, from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. and is free to the public. This is Greg Gloria for Akiko Managa for the Nichi Bei Cafe.
And now for the second part of our main course, a feature on Tanaka Farms in Irvine, California. The Nichi Bei sent contributing writer Alec Yoshio McDonald to cover this iconic farm, which educates the public through farm tours and supports nonprofits. They've also provided aid to the Tohoku region devastated by the Great East Japan earthquake, which struck 11 years ago.
Located in the Southern California city of Irvine, Tanaka Farms is a real working farm where visitors can explore the world of agriculture. The farm grows 60 different kinds of fruits and vegetables throughout the year, but what makes it so special is its agro-tourism programming. Visitors can come tour the fields, pick strawberries and vegetables, learn about barnyard animals, take cooking classes, and much more. The farm is run by Glenn Tanaka and his son Kenny. Kenny represents the fourth generation of the Tanaka family to have farmed in America. His great-grandfather, Teruo, immigrated from Japan in the early 1900s.
Tanaka Farms is our family farm.
I do a little bit of everything from the agritourism part, office work, a little bit in the field, managing what's going on, and just pretty much day-to-day operations. So throughout the year we have different activities and tours that we do. Right now for March through June we do our strawberry tours. Usually when we have school kids we get about 15,000 school kids coming out. On the weekends we could get up to 40 to 50,000 adults and children throughout the spring months for our strawberry tours. During the summer months, we do our watermelon tours, some corn tours. So we try to give you a little bit of a tour of the farm. We take you around in our tractor-pulled wagon, take you out in the field, show you how things are planted, showing how things are grown. Then you'll get to pick some of the different vegetables that we have. Biggest thing is we try to let you taste it while you're out here, so you pick it, you can eat it right away, taste the difference of the vegetables. Even the adults get a kick out of it, get it fresh, and you can pick the nice juicy one that you like. And it tastes a lot better. That's where I really get my joy, seeing the kids picking their own fruits and vegetables. And farming is a lot of hard work, and to have appreciation for where your food comes from.
In addition to its agritourism programming, Tanaka Farms is focused on celebrating its Japanese roots. One way it honors these roots is through Walk the Farm, an annual fundraiser launched as a way to help farmers affected by the 2011 Tohoku earthquake and tsunami in Japan. Another way it honors its roots is with an exhibit called the Issei and Nisei Farmers, Their Legacy. This exhibit, which showcases Japanese-American farming histories, is on display at Tanaka Farms and online.
This wall, the Issei and Nisei Farmers, Their Legacy, was a project that we came up with to highlight, really the struggles of our ancestors. We're getting to the next generation now, the Yonsei and the Gosei, where they're so far out of touch they don't know what grandma, grandpa, great-grandpa, great-grandpa did. It's a conversation piece to get the generations to talk and explore. The important part about really, the Issei and Nisei legacy is that it was pre-World War II, and then that part of history we want to forget. The internment where many of the farmers lost their property. It was a painful time. And so not only a conversation about the history of the farm, but about the concentration camps that occurred during that period. For us Japanese Americans, that's our legacy. We only have about 80 up here on this wall right now, and on the website at walkthefarm.org, you can see all these stories that are on there on the website. We're hoping to get over 1,000. Since farming was a big thing with the Japanese American community, it seems like every area has their book or their kind of library of farming history for that area. So we're just trying to put it all together from the different areas and kind of have a central base for it, I guess. Tanaka Farms has evolved over the years from a strictly wholesale to now a total direct retail and really agritourism spot. And in that transition, we were able to open the farm up more to the community, and with that, of course, me being Japanese American, I really opened up to the Japanese American community. People come to our farm because they want to support a local farm, and they want to know about me. They want to know about Tanaka Farms. And so the more they get to know about Tanaka Farms, they know that we're involved in the J community, and our interest and our connection with our history here.
Tanaka Farms is located just south of the 405 freeway at the intersection of University Drive and Strawberry Farm Road. Fresh fruits and vegetables are available for purchase at the Tanaka Farms Walk-Up Produce Market Stand, open daily from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Reservations for guided U-Pick farm tours, educational workshops, and other agro-tourism programs can be made online. Visit tanakafarms.com for more information. This is Alec Yoshio McDonald reporting for the Nichi Bei Cafe.
Many were shocked last year when Ricky and Bobby Okamura, the third-generation owners of beloved Japanese confectionery Benkyodo, announced that they were going to retire. This sent shockwaves through the community, as Benkyodo is the oldest business in San Francisco's Japantown, spanning 116 years.
Every day, you can see long lines snaking down Sutter Street, some waiting over an hour to get their hands on traditional wagashi, or the more modern fruit or peanut butter mochi varieties. We at the Nichi Bei are especially sad to see Benkyodo close at the end of this month. but have a deep appreciation for the Okamura family for maintaining a cherished tradition for so long.
In tribute to the Okamura family, we now present to you this multimedia video report of Ricky and Bobby at work, produced by then Nichi Bei Weekly intern Kana Yasuda in 2017. In this video, you can see them making their cherished strawberry mochi as they talk about their impending future.
Well, I started working, today I started at 2:45. I started this morning. He gets in at 7. But it's like,
It's a family thing, it's a tradition.
yeah.
Family tradition.
So that's why we make it.
It's fun.
What do we like it about it? Because people buy this
Yeah,
stuff.
we like to serve the customers. Good ones.
Strawberry, it's like a jam. It's called fruto, strawberry fruto, and to the uncle. That's why it's pink in color. It's sweeter. That's why it tastes different. And then we put the fresh strawberries in. We made up the strawberry.
Maybe 8 years already.
Yeah, it's a lot of work with the strawberry.
Yeah, a lot of more. Takes more time. Yeah. That's why we got to charge a little more price.
That's why this stuff is fairly simple, but strawberry takes more time.
Takes
to
more
make.
time. More, yeah. Sauce to make it, right?
Yeah,
Takes more
preparation.
time, yeah.
Other than Japanese people buy them, they like the fruits. So we started the fruits, and that's how come it became popular.
Some
Because this
different
stuff is
add-
all traditional. This stuff is all from my grandfather days. But then we wanted to make it more, different. Everyone comes here.
Yeah, very popular. You know, a lot of
Yeah.
community people.
They sit around and they talk.
We supply good mochi to the community, to sell to the community. Oh, the customers, yeah. Oh, yeah, we have that Japanese. Yeah, sure. A lot of Japanese people. That's true. Well, not to the Issei anymore. They all kind of did, but yeah, Issei and Sansei. That's true. See, for us, people from outside look at it. They look at it differently than us. For us, it's normal. But people outside might notice things like that, right? So that's true. Yeah. Nakatas.
Yeah, Nakata, Yamada, Seika,
Ken.
Okada.
Okada. 3, right?
It's total 4 of us.
Yeah, 4, yeah. 3 closed up as the years went on, yeah.
Yeah. After Bob and I, it's probably won't be in a family anymore. My children don't want to do it. And he has no kids.
Yeah, I know kids.
I don't know, but everything's for sale. Anything's for sale. So if someone wants to buy the business, that's fine. That's good. And they could keep the laundry going. But it won't be any family member.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Well, there's really nothing.
Change happens. Things happen.
I'm getting kind of old.
Yeah. Because used to be, we're the last family, well, us and the hardware store, the last 2 family businesses. They've been in the business a long time too. So I don't know about how long they're gonna, their son's gonna stay over too. Yeah, it just changed. I mean, things change.
We're getting a little tired.
Yeah, I get tired.
Sakura mochi is a Japanese confection consisting of sweet pink-colored rice cake with red bean paste, wrapped in a sakura or cherry blossom leaf. This is traditionally eaten during the spring season, especially on Girls' Day, or Hina Matsuri, on March 3rd.
Even if you are not near a manjuya or Japanese confectionery, you can enjoy this seasonal treat by making it yourself. Please enjoy this video recipe of Sakura mochi by Namiko Chen of Just One Cookbook. Hinamatsuri, also known as Dolls Festival or Girls' Day, is celebrated annually on March 3rd by Japanese families with daughters. Special dolls are traditionally brought out and displayed on this day.
For those who do not have access to the fancy doll sets, you can still celebrate the day with origami. Nichi Bei Weekly columnist Linda Mihara of San Francisco Japantown's Paper Tree will now show us how to make our own original Hina Ningyo.
Hi, I'm Linda Mihara, and welcome to Origami Now, my column for the Nichi Bei Weekly. Today I'm going to show you how to do a very simple prince and princess for the Hina Matsuri, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So you'll need 2 sheets of paper. I'm going to start with the princess, and so here's my really nice pink sheet of origami paper. And you notice origami paper has color on one side and it's white on the back. It's important to use origami paper because the white is going to play a big part of the design on this model. So let's turn the model over, and we're looking at the back side, and so let's fold it into a triangle. So line up your points here, hold it in place, pull straight down, and go to the right and left just like this. Go ahead and unfold it, and now we've created a line going right down the center of the model. We're going to take this edge and bring it to the center, kind of like a paper airplane, so it follows along that center line, just like this. Let's do the same for the other side. So bring that other side in to meet at the center, like this. Turn the model over, and I'm going to rotate it this way here. So take these 2 edges and bring that to the center. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Like this. And the other side, just like this. Take this top point here and you're going to bring it down to meet right where the color changes, right in this intersection here. We're going to take that and fold it down to meet that point. Let's go ahead and fold that. And then now we're going to continue. Take that, grab the layers together, and we're going to fold it up between this point and this point. So we're going to go and fold it like this. You'll find it lines up perfectly with the outside edge, just like this. So go ahead and give that a nice strong crease. Let's turn it over and take this part here, where the white triangle is, and fold this up. Just like this. So you'll do the same sequence of steps for the prince. And so I have a prince folded already to that stage. And the difference is how we detail the head and the position of the arms. So let's go ahead and finish the princess. So her arms are here, so we're going to fold them down so that they meet in the center, like this. She's usually depicted with her hands together, like this. And then for the detail for the head, we're just going to fold this top down just a little bit, like this. And then we're going to roll it forward again. So fold it forward. And let's get it like... So it's rolled forward like this. So we'll put her aside for a second and let's finish the prince. So for the prince, he's usually depicted with his arms apart like this. And so we're going to go ahead and do that. Nice stance. And then for his detail, you want to fold it back. For the princess, we folded it forward, but for the prince, we're going to fold it back. So we're creating a mountain fold right about there. And then we're taking the tip and we're bringing it back up. So we're kind of making a little pleat. So that's his little, his detail there. And then now you're finished with the folding. But one little detail is if you take some glue stick, and I find it's helpful to put a little bit of glue here Let's do the same for the princess. A little bit of glue there. And if you look at the bottom, there's a little split here. So if you separate it gently, that will allow them to stand like this. So there's your princess, and there is your prince. Happy Hina Sun Festival.
In December, the Nichi Bei Weekly and Nichi Bei Foundation published our most ambitious publication yet, Nikkei Connections, the Japanese American Community Resource Guide. This guide featured a host of resources and historical information across the country, including historic destinations, maps, history walks and directories of the 4 major Japantowns, cultural arts classes, and many other resources.
Some have ordered boxes of copies to provide to their students or to give to family and friends. One popular resource of the guide is a directory of public Japanese gardens across the country.
For our tips this month, we bring to you a directory of these gardens. From wedding nuptials to a simple escape for calm and tranquility, Japanese gardens provide the perfect backdrop for peace and serenity.
Please enjoy this list of public Japanese gardens across the country put together by our staff. We hope that they will provide you with a sense of calmness in this often chaotic world. Thank you for joining us for the second episode of the Nichi Bei Cafe. We hope that you enjoyed our second show and will come back to hang out at the cafe in the coming months.
At this time, we'd like to thank the Henry and Tomoye Takahashi Charitable Foundation for their generous support of the Nichi Bei Cafe. We appreciate our collaboration with you in finding new ways to engage our community during this unprecedented pandemic.
We focused the bulk of today's program on stories related to the Nichi Bei Weekly's annual Home and Garden issue, which will come out on March 17th. We hope that you will read the publication when it comes out to dive deeper into these stories.
We started today with a song to support the citizens of Ukraine, the Ukraine National Anthem as sung by the Yokohama Sisters. We end today with a song by the Grateful Crane Ensemble intended to support the people of Tohoku, who suffered from the Great East Japan earthquake and tsunami. Cue Sakamoto's Sukiyaki, also known as Ue o Muite Aruko in Japan.
These musical bookends to today's program clearly exemplifies the power of music to heal, to bring people together through song. On this date, which coincides with the 11th anniversary of the natural devastation in Japan and a man-made devastation in Ukraine, let us remember that we are all brothers and sisters, and let us strive for mutual respect and world peace. Thanks again for joining us at the Nichi Bei Cafe. And now, we present to you the Grateful Crane Ensemble.
My head up high and look to the sky, and I walk along so the tears won't fall, remembering those happy days of spring. But tonight I'm all alone.
Hello everyone, konnichiwa.
皆さんのことアメリカからお祈りしています。
私たちの心は皆さんと共にあります。
皆さんが元気でありますように。
また会いたいです。
頑張ろう。皆さん、お元気で。
素敵な笑顔をありがとう。
またお会いできることを望んでいます。
Love from America.
Happiness lies above the clouds. Happiness lies above the sky.
た一緒に歌いましょう。
皆さんのことを思っています。
また会いましょう。
必ずまたお会いしましょう。約束ですよ。
東北の復興と発展を応援しています。
笑顔、スマイル。
皆さんのことを絶対忘れません。
応援しています。ファイトオー！